You are a renowned chef at Donna Mare, which is at the Cadillac Hotel here in Miami.
Born in Milan, the legend is that my mother brought the waters in the kitchen while cooking. I slept in the kitchen until I was 15.
So cooking chose you.
This is my mission. I was working for Giorgio Armani and he was in the city in Milan. I was very young, but I was already about 15 years into the hospitality business, of which I spent 10 in Michelin star-rated restaurants. If you choose to come over here because you choose to be part of this country, you have to continue being humble and approach the business with the same mentality, with the same purpose. People don't realize how much is really behind it and what it takes. If they chose to come over here, they already knew that they had to put themselves through challenging times, and then learn a new language and American culture and the people that live here.
Coming from Italy, what difference do you see in food quality here and versus there? Luigi,
Hi.
thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
You are a renowned chef at, I'm going to let you say it,
Donna Mare,
Donna Mare,
Cadillac Hotel.
which is at the Cadillac Hotel here in Miami. Take me back to young Luigi in Italy, born in Milan.
Yeah, I was born in Milan. The legend is that my mother brought the waters in the kitchen while cooking.
Wow.
And grew up in Milan, very humble upcoming. I slept in the kitchen until I was 15.
So any siblings?
One sister.
One sister,
Yeah.
older or younger?
She was across the table on the other side of the kitchen.
Older than you?
She's younger, 3
She's
years
younger
younger.
than 2 years.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Where is she
Elisa.
now?
She's in Milan.
She's in Milan still. Okay. You're young, you're born in the kitchen, basically.
Born in the kitchen and being around my grandmother a lot. My mom was caring after my sister that got ill
Okay.
for a while, and and then my grandmother moved to my aunt's house, and I ended up cooking for my father every day.
So you ended up
That's-
cooking
yes.
while your mom was taking care of your sister. I
Yes.
assume you were cooking with your grandmother?
At the beginning, yes, she was watching me over, and she was teaching me all her tricks and all the recipes that she knew, and she was bringing me with her to to shop for ingredients on the street markets, on over there is completely different the way that we approach food.
Yeah.
It's completely different.
Can you
So,
share that a little bit?
Sure, you establish a relationship with vendors over there, and you become best friends with them, and they give you the best of the best, the freshest thing, and if they don't, they're in trouble.
Right.
And you go to shop daily for the day of, for the meal of the day of, and you buy fresh bread every day, and you buy fish for that day, fresh, you cook it and you use it, and it's every day. You gotta go, and it's like hunting basically for modern days.
So my family's originally from India, and they immigrated here. And it seems, and I've gone back several times, and it seems it's very similar. They have refrigerators, but they don't use them the way that we use them, right? They go out in the morning, they know what they're gonna make, whatever's in season, whatever's in market that's available, but also vendors and farmers can come to your house too. I don't know if it's like that in Italy.
Oh yes, they do.
They drive around in their carts and whatever's fresh and in season and picked that morning or picked the night before, that's what you pick from and that's what you cook.
Absolutely.
You don't get anything out of season and you make it fresh, and whatever you have, leftovers, not a thing. My mom's family, you eat fresh, you make fresh, and then the rest you give to the animals.
Sure.
You don't really deal with leftovers.
You make just enough.
Just enough and no frozen food.
Never.
Yeah, it's the same over there
Yeah,
too.
in fact, over there, refrigerator were very small.
Mm-hmm.
The vendors will also come to the restaurant and sell the freshest food possible, the most seasonable.
Which makes sense because that's why everyone who travels there from here, they eat out the whole time when they're traveling and they don't feel sick.
Right, it's a very common thing that you hear
Because
from them.
even the restaurants the restaurants also use very fresh ingredients everywhere you go, which is phenomenal. Here we have 2 refrigerators in houses, and in those
And a
countries,
big chest freezer in the garage, right? Yes.
There we don't. Tell me a little bit about Italy compared to the U.S. You do have kids and you raise kids here, but you and your wife grew up in Italy. The good and the bad.
Well, the good about here, it's for sure it's business, and
Okay.
the way that the busy life approach is here. It's good for somebody that wants to create something like a business or live that type of life. Over there, not so good.
Do you still feel like there's opportunity here and not in Italy?
There is a lot of opportunities over here and not a lot in Italy, unfortunately.
Even in the restaurant space?
Hmm.
Why do you think that is?
Because people don't cook at home. It's a very common.
Here?
Yes.
Oh, so you're saying there people cook at home.
Yes.
That's true. Okay.
It's harder to, have a business that actually makes it and
That's
it becomes
profitable and makes a
super
lot.
successful. Yes, it's very hard. Also, the taxation part of it is completely different from here. The bureaucracy, the way that things are slow at the beginning, and to get a business off the ground, it takes years. Over here, within 3 months, you can open a place.
Over the years, with all the traveling we've been doing for work, I've noticed the same too. Trying to open up a business in India or in other countries around the world, it's very difficult. I mean, just simple things of like trying to go get a visa or, get your passport redone. You actually have to go physically into offices and wait hours and hours in line. And then sometimes you won't even get it that same day. Whereas here, those things are still easy, fast, simple, online, automated processes. So I can definitely see that difference between the two. But do you feel like your kids are missing out on being raised here versus there?
They're missing out a lot on, the healthy upcoming of the life of a child over there, and being able to play on the streets and have fun and just, be totally, completely careless and
Yeah.
enjoy life.
Because I'm sure you and your wife think about your childhood in Italy and how.
We were lucky when we were coming up. It was, the late 70s, the beginning of the 80s, and it was a completely different environment and society. And things have changed a lot. Some things for the best, some other for the worse. And our children are, the fruit of that, of those generation that created this.
Yeah.
It's our responsibility too.
Yeah. What's your favorite place in Italy?
Oh my gosh, there are so many. I love in between Tuscany and Liguria.
Okay.
There is this small region where a couple of rivers cross, and in a couple of little towns like the Cinque Terre. The area is probably my best.
That's your favorite
Yes.
area.
I also like Puglia a lot.
Is that
Puglia is yes.
P-U-G-L-I-A? Okay, so I say it wrong, obviously.
Try
Okay.
to say it. Puglia.
Puglia.
Yeah, almost.
Do you know what I used to call it?
No.
Puglia.
Of course you would. Of course.
Of course I did. Would you ever go back and live in Italy ever again?
Yes, I will.
That is the plan.
I am going back.
Good for you.
One day my wife and I will go back. She doesn't know yet.
No, you guys can take me with you. Please.
Let's go.
Yeah, take me with you. So when you were with your grandmother and you were learning how to cook, you would say it's safe to say that this was out of necessity because your family was more focused on helping your sister, and so then you kind of fell into the, hanging out with your grandmother and what she was doing? Was that your first time being exposed to cooking?
Yes, I mean, my dream at that time was becoming an architect and be involved in, building something really cool. And
Where did that come from, though?
I don't know, because when I grew up, I used to walk around a lot with my grandpa, and it would show me, churches and castles and, beautiful buildings, and he will tell me all stories about it, and I was always fascinated. And and I said, wait, one day I'll build something. I'll take my grandpa and I'll show him.
Did you tell your parents that you wanted to be an architect?
Not really, because then whatever happened to me after that, it was like it was an eye opener. It's something that you feel right away, and okay, whatever I was thinking before, it was completely wrong. This is what I'm meant to do.
What happened?
And when I got into the kitchen and myself experienced the first times cooking, I realized, okay,
You really loved it.
this is really something that I really love.
So cooking chose you in a lot of ways.
Yes,
right?
It was a destiny.
You ever think about being an architect?
Not anymore.
And this is it. Like this was
That's it.
your calling.
This is my mission.
That's beautiful. How did you know that this was your path? Because as a young kid, when you do want to be an architect, but you're being shown cooking, how did you know?
Here's what happened. When I realized that, and I talked to my dad, and it was time for me to pick either to go to a regular high school or a professional high school. And I told him, look, I really like cooking. I think I want to become a chef one day.
How old were you?
14. And he said, you know what you should do? This summer, you're going to go to my friend's restaurant, help them throughout the summer, and work with the team over there and see if you like it. And so I did, I worked entire summer, 89 days straight. And, I started, washing dishes and polishing silverware, watching, helping them cleaning the vegetables and taking the trash, do everything that a helper in the kitchen will do at the beginning. And I remember the owner of the place came over and pat me on the shoulder, gave me $100, said, come back the next summer, you're ready.
Oh, wow.
So I took that money and I bought my first uniform and my first knives, which I still have. And I went to the Culinary Institute and I signed myself up.
And this was all in Italy?
In Milan.
At this time, when you're in school, in Italy, in culinary school, did you visualize and see yourself being a chef in Italy?
Yes, of course, that was part of the plan.
So you
To
never,
go through that too.
did you ever visualize coming to America?
No, not yet.
Okay, so you're
Absolutely
still
not.
thinking there.
Mhm.
What moments helped define you as a chef? Other jobs, other opportunities that you took on between
Well,
France and Italy?
Well, it was for sure. It was one of the first years that I was in school. My professor took me with him to work a lot, and he told me, "Okay, this summer maybe you can go and improve your skills in one of the most renowned places in France, for one of the most renowned places, chefs of the whole time." So I did it. He actually made a connection between me and them. And I actually spent 2 summers with her. And the first summer was completely eye-opener for me, and I understood the magnitude of the profession, and I understood that it was gonna take me a long, long time before I would learn what I've seen, and and I really wanted to do it, and I put myself into it.
Out of all the experiences that you had in Italy at this time, what was the one job or internship or whatever, like these little times that you had with people, the one that was most memorable for you?
For sure, working with Gualtiero Marchesi is the best all-time chef for Italy, the one who brought Nouvelle Cuisine in Italy back in the 80s, and worked for him for several years.
What kind of cuisine did he bring to Italy?
It's called Nouvelle Cuisine.
What is that?
It's a different approach to any cuisine, actually. He used to do it with Italian.
Okay.
He was a Milanese chef, and he approached the way of plating things in a more refined, more special, different from what was at the time the traditional plating
Of food.
of the Italian food. Yeah,
Wow.
he completely revisited, and then everybody copies them all the times.
Can you give me an example?
Okay, one of the most traditional dishes that he put on his menu was a risotto alla milanese, and it was served with a nice gold leaf on top. Back at the times, nobody used it. Now you see it in every place.
The gold leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's one of the examples. And he used to like art a lot. I also love art, and you will incorporate something that they will see in a painting. We'll try to recreate the same thing in a dish.
Oh, wow. Is he still around? Do you keep in touch with him?
No, he actually passed a few years ago, but I kept in touch for many years.
Many
Yes.
years? Very nice. Can you talk about a moment when life forced you to change courses here?
Well, yes, there's been a time where I met my wife,
Mm-hmm.
and it was actually my stepdaughter that introduced me to her,
Introduce you to?
to my wife.
Oh,
She was
okay.
5, and I was on vacation in Italy with my parents
Okay.
because I haven't seen them for years, and I spent a few weeks with them. And I was on a beach, and she came over and she pulled my pants and said, "Hey, do you want to play with my mom?"
Oh.
I said, "Sure, sweetie. Which one is your mom? I would love to play with her."
Wow.
That's what happened.
That's how you met your now wife.
She introduced me to her, and
Wow.
yes, and that was kind of life-changing.
Okay.
I was supposed to travel back to the US and start a business and open a place for someone else for the beginning. And then
restaurant.
Yes.
So this opportunity while you're in Italy, you meet your wife, you were supposed to come here to open up a restaurant for someone else.
Yes.
Does that
And
happen?
I did the first 6 months for them.
Okay.
And then I moved back to Italy, and I worked for Giorgio Armani.
Why did you leave here? Why were you here? Why did you were just only
Because I
supposed to
fell
live
in
for 6
love.
months? Oh, so you wanted to go back to be with your wife?
I wanted to be
Okay.
Yes, I wanted
Okay,
to be
I
near
see.
my wife. It was 2001,
Okay.
And at that time, with everything that happened in the US, her family felt it wasn't the safest place at the
Okay.
moment.
Okay.
They asked me to come back as opposed to them move out here.
Got
And I
it.
dropped everything and then went back to Italy. And one day I was working for Giorgio Armani, and he was in the city in Milan. He was very busy, and I was coming off a couple of burnouts
Mm-hmm.
already, and I said I gotta move out from these big cities.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife was from the countryside, and I wanted to move out there. There was a three Michelin star place where I wanted to work,
Mm-hmm.
and I actually got the job offer from them. So here I am, jump on my motorbike and I ride my bike to the countryside,
Mm-hmm.
and I get into a motorcycle accident.
Wow.
Yes, and at that point I had to put my life on hold.
Did you suffer like
Um,
major injuries that?
it was pretty rough. Yes, it was pretty rough. It was life changing.
I guess it forced you to.
Forced me to take a different direction and to reevaluate my priorities for sure. And the job, it actually happened in a later stage. But at that time, I learned that taking life slowly, a little bit easier, and give a different value and a different purpose to your own life. It's necessary.
How old were you, if you don't mind, when you were going through these realizations after your accident?
I was in my late 20s.
That's pretty young.
I was very young, but I was already about 15 years into the hospitality business, of which I spent about 10 in Michelin star rated restaurants.
Wow.
And it was intense. It was a lot of hard work, a lot of hours, and a lot of holidays gave up, a
Is
lot
this
of
the time
birthdays
you
missed.
also realized you're burning out? You start to burn out at some point.
I've had a couple of them actually, and yes, I've had one that was a major burnout. And one time, and that's where I realized that this business can really do something really great to you, but it can also weigh a ton. And one day I was in London. I was working in Michelin Place, and I remember having the feeling of like waking up in the morning. And when you wake up and you're relaxed and you're kind of stretching, and
Mm-hmm.
I had that type of physical feeling. And I opened my eyes, and sure enough, I'm in the kitchen, and it's 8 o'clock at night. It's service. It's busy, and that's where I realized, okay, something is wrong with me. This shouldn't be happening. I should be more aware. I should be more alert.
Right.
But it was like everything was like you were living in a different reality.
Yeah.
Well, that's when I realized, I needed to hit the pause button,
Mm-hmm.
and I packed my things and I went back to Italy for a while. While I was trying to leave London, my boss at the time, he was a big chef.
Mm-hmm.
He was trying to keep me over there, and he said, "Why don't you stay another week and just take the week off and rest and get some relax?" And so I did, and I was in an apartment with a friend, and he was on the phone with another of his friends from Miami, and they were talking. No, but I don't really know somebody. I have no idea. And I asked him, "What are you guys talking about?" I say, "Oh, well, this friend of mine is looking for a chef for a small place in Miami." I say, "Here I am." So I went back to Milan, and I changed my. I still remember I see my mom and say, "Mom, I just need to repack, and I'm leaving in 2 days. I'm going to Miami." And I came over there the first time. It was 1997.
Wow.
Yeah, 98 actually. Sorry.
And that's it.
And I liked it a lot, and
liked
I
it.
said, "Okay, one day I'm gonna make it back."
So when you first came to Miami, you were working at someone else's restaurant.
Yes.
How many years did you do that for?
For about 4 years,
Okay. And how soon after
3.5 years, and
Okay. After that, what was your next?
I met my wife.
Because you had to go back to Italy. Okay, I
Yeah.
see. Okay, so
It
you
was
were
2001, and I met my
2001.
wife, and
okay.
my life completely changed at that time.
Okay. When you moved to Miami, I want to go into a little bit about your perspective on culture and change.
Okay.
Because you were born and raised in Milan, and now, but you're here. Was it difficult adapting to the culture here for you, personally and professionally?
It was at the same time difficult and also interesting, because you always learn from people around you, and you try to get the best out of it. And it was difficult because For me, for instance, it was very difficult to understand the people who go out and eat at 5 o'clock over here for dinner.
In Italy, it's later, right?
For us, we are taking a nap at that time.
Right. Yeah.
That part was kind of hard to understand. But then I understood that it was also, another type of crowd that will come much later than that. And Miami was really about nightlife, and it was completely changing at the time that I came over, and now it's become another version of it.
Yeah. When people invite me out to dinner that start at 9:30 or 10, I politely decline.
Of course.
I can't do it.
Because you know what type of crowd you're gonna
Yeah,
get into.
it's not even that. I can't even eat that late. Like, my
late.
latest time is 8 o'clock. After 8 o'clock, I'm not going to be eating anything. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I wish I
can't do
could
it.
say the same, but because of work, I end up eating very late every day.
Well, I mean, that happens too a lot. I had another chef on the show before, and he said the same thing. He's like, listen, there are times where you only eat one meal a day,
Yeah.
and it's whenever you get a chance. And if that's at 12, 1 o'clock in the morning,
But you gotta
okay.
eat something.
You have to eat something. It is what it is. Well, what's the hardest part of you starting over in America?
Well, the second time
Business-wise.
around, when I came over with my family, it was the fact that they weren't here with me at the beginning, and I was here by myself, and it was hard on me on emotionally wise. Business wise, it's actually much easier than opening anywhere else in the world. The bureaucracy, it's easy, it's fast, and the finance part of it, it's also easier than a lot of other places. Business, it's been evolving. It has changed a lot. Right now, it's more difficult than it used to be. It's very difficult to find good talent right now.
Yeah.
It's really difficult to, not that you don't find it. I am lucky because we have a lot of really good people that work with us, and that they have a really good attitude, and they have skills, and they want to succeed, and they want to share the same goal, the same passion that we have, and it's a blessing. But I do see a big change in the mentality, in the way to approach the work life, and the dedication, and the commitment, and the hard work that it's needed.
Did you ever feel like you had to really prove yourself here because you weren't born here and you weren't from here? So in the business community, you really had to hustle maybe a little bit harder.
It's still happening to these days, every day.
You still feel that?
You're as good as your last meal. This business goes so fast that if you stand still, you're left behind. So you have to continuously work on updating yourself, on putting yourself, through being humble and have humility, and understand that, in the end of the day, you're just a cook.
Yeah.
And people come over to, some of them just for a quick bite, some of them for a celebration, some of them it's just they really want to have the experience. They really come for the hospitality that we provide. You have to see it with those eyes, and then you realize that you are in something that is much bigger than what you think. It's not just a job.
Mm-hmm.
People create memories. For instance, last night, 2 nights ago, we had a table that these people, they come in a lot. They're our regulars, and this time they really made the point that they wanted to celebrate something, and they really wanted me to be part of it. So they asked me to sit at the table with them, and raise a glass to their daughter that was gonna get married, and such an honor, and just because I cook for them. That's it.
No, I think chefs play a very pivotal part in people's lives, especially when you go to a restaurant that you really like, right? That you go to consistently and you build a relationship. I'm sure you build relationships with your regulars or people that come in. I can totally relate to that for sure. Now, when your wife moved over here, how did she adjust? Loved it?
Yes, she was.
He's like, she had no problem adjusting.
Just fine, yes.
So she wanted to come here and
to be honest, she didn't speak a lick of English, not even a word.
Okay.
And she knew basics British English that you learn in school in Italy. She was an absolute force.
Yeah.
The effort that she put in to adapt and to grow the family here with our mentality, it's absolutely remarkable.
I assume that you guys had no help, like family help, because all your family's back in Italy, or did?
No, it was just us.
Just you two.
It's still, if it wasn't for some friends that we have around, it's still us only.
That's something my mom never lets me forget, is that your dad and I raised you all by ourselves. We didn't have any My grandparents weren't around, my aunts and uncles weren't around, my cousins weren't around. Like we did everything by ourselves. And today she's very proud of it. But going through the whole process, it was hard. It was very hard on her. She doesn't realize how hard it was until now she looks back and thinks like, how did we do that? You know, how did we raise two kids all by ourselves? And
We didn't have
and
nannies.
no nannies.
No nannies.
Yeah. And like running a business and starting a business, going through the recession, coming out of the recession, it was a lot on them. And so I always have a soft spot when I see like people who come from a different country and they're raising their kids. But I wonder, do your kids ever like growing up, did they ever ask like, where are our grandparents? Like, why don't they live here? I did. I asked when I was young.
Here's the one thing that my mom-in-law, she was very present. She will be on the phone with us all the times, and she'll travel and spend 2-3 months at a time, and
Incredible.
it was a blessing to have her around. Unfortunately, passed away. She's like, I truly have a special relationship with her. You know, my parents on the other side, they will be a little bit less present, but they will also travel to see the grandkids. But my kids didn't really develop a big relationship with them, more than
probably more with your
from my
mother-in-law
wife's mom,
because
yes.
she was there more. What's something about Italian culture or food that you feel gets lost or misunderstood in the U.S.? Everything.
Are you sure you want to know?
Yeah, of course.
There is a lot that gets
I
changed.
know. I asked
you know?
because I feel that, to be honest.
I feel it too. Every day it's been a continuous, you know, a constant, not battle, but argument with, you know, the guests that they want to always have something done a different way. And in Italy, you don't go to a restaurant and you ask, can I have this on the side? Can I have this sauce instead of the other? You know, you go to the restaurant, you open the menu, you pick a dish, and then that's it. You don't return it if you don't like it. It's your deal. I'm sorry.
Right, and you don't
Over here,
change it.
no, over here it's like you open your own restaurant, you make your own menu, but it's still like 100% customizable by the guests because they're always right.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
want
something
this. I
that
want this instead. I need this instead.
people don't understand that your menu is a plan. It's a financial plan. It's a concept. It's something that you care for, and you really put your heart and soul into it, and you really want to present it a certain way, and it gets changed all the times.
What is like a norm though, when it comes to Italian food in America that just irks you?
Oh my God.
About a certain dish, like that you're just like, that's not how you eat that, or that's not how you make that.
One of them, it's actually on our menu, and it's extremely successful too. It's the chicken parmigiano.
All right. So what's wrong with it?
You know, it's not something that we really do in Italy. And
Chicken Parmesan is not a thing in Italy.
No.
Okay.
We do eggplant parmesan.
Yeah, which is
and
my
it's
favorite.
like a small appetizer, you know, very light. And somehow in the US it became made with chicken, and it became a thing, you know, for the longest time. Now it's a staple at some of the most famous Italian places.
You just mentioned that eggplant parm is kind of like an appetizer in Italy. In a lot of places here, though, they serve it as like a
side dish.
No, a main dish.
Main dish.
Like a giant one. I see it more as an appetizer, but people eat it as like a main. I don't see that.
In Italy, so normally you will do as a part of the appetizer course, it will be one of the dishes on the table.
Not as
so for us, the culture is to you know, when you sit down with friends or with family, you will fill up the table with a lot of different things as an appetizer, and then you will have the entree ready to go for you know, for the second course or third course. Depends on how much you want to eat that day.
You gave me the example of chicken parm. Give me one more, pasta related.
Pasta.
That is just a big no-no in Italy, but in America they just.
Pasta Alfredo.
Alfredo?
Alfredo.
Okay, what's wrong with that one?
Or cheese on frutti di mare. People ask for a seafood pasta.
Okay.
And then they want to put cheese on it.
And you're not supposed to put cheese
It
on
drives me insane. No, don't put cheese on the fish, please.
Wow.
It doesn't taste good.
What's wrong with the Alfredo pasta?
Well, somehow this dish, it was very famous back in the 1940s in Italy. That's where it was first made and invented. And then at some point during the history, and, you know, and these big stars in Hollywood, they brought it over to the US, and it became something completely different from what it really is. And you know, we need to go back to the real recipe.
I think you're alluding to the fact that there's cream in the American version, but there's butter and cheese in the.
Only butter and cheese, yeah.
See, I
And
knew
pasta
that.
water.
And pasta water. I hope people are learning something from you
I
right
hope
now.
so.
Do you ever feel pressure to Americanize your food to succeed?
I do. Every day.
Do you feel that you have to do that or you can succeed without doing that?
I still hope that one day we're gonna
Get to that point.
get to that point, yes.
But right now you feel
But it's
yourself.
not about, I hear sometimes chefs saying, oh, but we have to educate the public, but I don't think it's correct. You don't educate others. That's the school job. We're just a restaurant. People come over for fun and celebration. They give so much emphasis on it. In the end of the day, it's a place where people come and have fun.
You have a point to that. I can see that. It's like,
So I think that the society needs to it's got to slow down a little bit on it.
yeah, for sure. What's the biggest cultural difference between kitchens in Italy and kitchens in America?
In home or business?
Business.
The businesses over there, they have much smaller teams.
Kitchens?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kitchen teams.
Okay.
Everybody works a split shift over there. They work the entire day and they take a break in the afternoon. And the kitchens are like families, basically, because you will have a very long tenure at one place and stay there for a very long time. And everybody knows you and you know everybody.
Yeah, here.
Over here, the turnover is extremely high.
Turnover is high
Yes.
here. Yeah, I can see that. Okay, what about between home kitchens in Italy versus America?
In Italy, the home kitchen is like,
Staple. It's the center,
it's the center of the house.
right? Yeah.
Yes, and everybody gather, and and normally mom or dad or both together, they're cooking, and it's where all the memories are done, and it's the focal point.
Focal point. I think there's also a lot of importance given on eating healthy, eating fresh food. Food is very important, as opposed to here, it's more. I don't know. It's not something that's like the main focus of someone's upbringing or home. Food is kind of like on the go, drive through,
I agree
snack
with you.
to go, right?
I agree.
Whereas in other cultures, including Italian culture, it's more you sit down and it's mindful and it's in the moment and it's supposed to bring people together. Everything's intentional. It's more intentional in other countries, including Italy. Whereas here, it's not that intentional, especially at home. I mean, your typical average American household is not sitting together with a home-cooked meal from scratch, start to finish. That's not the average American home right now.
That's why
It was
there's so many
mine.
restaurants.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we have so many restaurants. It was mine growing up. My mom always cooked. I mean, going to McDonald's, I could count that on my hands because we weren't allowed to go to McDonald's because my husband was like, what is that? Like that was frozen. That's not good for you. This leads me into my next point, which coming from Italy, what difference do you see in food quality here and versus there? And I'm sure for you that affects the taste.
It does greatly, unfortunately. Yes, there is a big difference. There is a lot of great foods around here, but you really need to be an expert at sourcing it and found it and keep it consistent and picking the right ingredients. When I came here the first time, it was a total shock. It was like, oh my gosh, chicken breast the size of an eagle.
What'd you feel in terms of taste?
Taste was completely tasteless. Yeah, over there you go to the street market and you walk around and you're in front of the fruit and vegetable stand. You can smell the herbs, the tomatoes, the fruit. You can taste it, and the flavor is very strong. It's very distinctive. Over here, most things are blend, and they're grown in greenhouses, and they're pumped and pushed to grow very fast, and the flavor completely lost. And
which makes me wonder about the nutritional value, right?
that's where things are changing now, finally, and people is very into healthy eating, and
I think people are aware here, but I don't think that we have access to it yet. Like I still like, if I go, when I travel to India or Dubai or anywhere else, but particularly in India, I can literally when I pick up the apple and I smell it, it's almost like I'm smelling it, but I can taste it. Does that make sense? Like you can literally it's there. not the apples I get here.
But they
Not-
look great, right? They're
Huh?
like shiny and
They're shiny.
all the same.
Yes, you're
I
right.
mean,
Yeah, there's like that wax on top of them. And it's with everything, fruits, vegetables,
there is access to
grains.
that, but it's so expensive.
Here?
Food that is more natural, more organic, more healthy.
I think we have access to it, but it's not sitting at Whole Foods, right? It's
No.
sitting, you have to find those markets and you have to find those vendors and you have to, or even if it's a website that you're ordering from, I think you have to find those places for sure. But I don't think it's easy access for everybody. And you're right, financially, definitely not easy
Very
for
expensive,
everybody.
yeah.
Yeah. Have you not made a certain dish in your restaurant here in America because you're like, this is just not going to taste the same?
Yes, several, many,
Do you mind
for
sharing?
many years.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the seafood over here it's completely different from what we find over there. So some of the, for instance, in Italy we use a lot of langostinos, a lot of red shrimp, a lot of prawns, beautiful octopus. Over there it's very, very, very hard to find.
Over here, yeah.
Very hard to find something that it tastes comparable. So some of the dishes that I love to make, I just don't make.
You don't make them.
No, I tried it and it doesn't come out the same. And nowadays you can import a lot of things, but then you have to charge too much to the customer and it becomes a problem.
Yeah. How has your relationship with Italian cuisine evolved since you've left Milan and come here?
It's love and hate. Some things, they're way too out there. The globalization got to them too. And now I see American chain restaurants opening in Milan. And I wonder what these people is doing over there and why do they have to do that? And nothing wrong, it's a different experience that they can have sometimes. But why are you doing that? No.
Right now, currently, Italians living in Italy, do you find that they want those chain restaurants? They want to dine at a McDonald's or a Pizza Hut in Italy?
I just think that it's like mainstream marketing strategies that they kind of force people through their screens, through their cell phones.
Oh, so okay, I see what you're saying.
It's like they're brainwashing
They're
them.
brainwashing them.
Yes.
So in India, it's kind of a similar problem. When I go there, there's a McDonald's, there's this, there's that. We don't eat there, but I always wondered, like, why? Everybody wants that
There you go.
over a home-cooked meal. Everybody wants to go there. All the kids want to go there. They don't want to eat what's at home. They don't even want to go to the Indian restaurants that are around. So I feel like it's probably very similar where they think it's better. It's cooler, and then they grow up and they realize, yeah, but it's not healthy for you.
It's not really. Not at all.
And I wish people would pay more attention to that and become more aware of that. But who knows? I don't know. I think you're right, though. It's mass marketing.
It is what
They're
it
good at
is.
it. They're very good at it. Do you ever feel torn between honoring your Italian traditions and heritage in your food, but then also giving into the American taste?
I'm forced basically to kind of
So if you had a choice, you wouldn't.
no. I would definitely not. Some of the things I do like.
Like what?
I like the fact that we can find king crab over here. In Italy, you don't find it.
You don't find that there.
No.
Okay.
For instance, it's something that I like.
What dish reminds you of your childhood the most?
Oh my gosh, so many. There is this dish that my grandma used to make me all the times, and it was like passatelli. So it's basically like a mixture of breadcrumbs and Parmigiano Reggiano and eggs, and then it's passed through a veggie miller, and it falls into a boiling broth made with organic chicken, and it boils into that, and then you eat the soup. It's like a soup.
Have you ever served it in your restaurant?
Yes, several times.
Oh, nice. Okay. Is there anything from your childhood that you haven't served, though?
There is a very special type of lamb that we grow in Italy, and we consume during this month, actually now in Easter time. It's like a spring lamb. They're very small, and it's so delicious, but you cannot find it over here.
So you've never
And
served
that
it?
one reminds me of my mom cooking that dish in the oven and roast it, and the smell of it will be so delicious and so inviting that I can dream it now.
When was the last time you had it?
Oh, it was many years ago.
10, 20?
Time to repeat it.
Really? Oh.
Maybe 20, yes.
20 years ago?
Maybe 20.
Wow. Okay, so you're in Miami building your business, right? What did you love most about building in Miami?
The fact that it's hustling and bustling and busy, and
Easier than
People,
Italy to to start
yes,
a business.
people from all over the world. It's cosmopolitan. We get a lot of European people around here that they love Italian food, so
They
a
try to
little
find,
easier.
yeah, they try to find a little bit of home here. I can
Yes,
imagine. Yeah.
and the fact that it's part of the hotel company, it's part of the hotel building itself, and we got a lot of hotel clientele, and it's good for us.
Yeah. What does hospitality mean to you at this stage in your journey, at this point right now?
It's like a purpose. It's a purpose in life that one has to have. If you don't feel it that way, you're better off searching for another opportunity and change career.
You feel like it's your why? You care more about the people and why they're there and what they're celebrating? Is
It's
it?
my purpose.
Yeah.
It is my inner core type of thing that I feel every day when I'm around my staff and my guests, and that's my purpose.
I assume you do a lot of mentorship
I do. That's a big part of my day every day.
every day.
Yes, new young generation. They need to be uh, taught. They need to be instructed, directed, mentored.
Shared too. I think you have to share your
Motivate.
experiences with them.
Yes.
Like they don't have access to somebody from Italy who can teach them all the ins and outs of things. You, obviously, but I feel like that's not normal. That's not easy to come by
And it's not.
as a student.
No, it's not easy to find people that wants to listen. Right now, they find everything on their phones, and they think they know it all.
Yeah.
But then you find the people that is actually humble and
Curious.
and they're curious. They're very motivated, and it's easier for me.
How do you see this restaurant industry evolving?
It's a very difficult situation. Miami went through up and downs, big, huge climb up when COVID hit. The business were booming over here, and it was an excellent 2 or 3 years of this climb. And now we're seeing a decline. Now we're seeing the society and the economic issues that affect our world. And I see in the hospitality becoming always more and more flashier, more people after the Instagram post, and it's becoming more like that than more what is normally should be.
Instead of being an experience and something that brings people together, I feel it's become, where can I be seen? Where's the next coolest place that I could be photographed at, right? And I can post that I went to this spot, which a lot of those places, I don't know if you agree with me, I don't really like their food. No, I'm
Glad you say that.
A lot of people would agree with me. Trust me. It's like everyone's like, oh yeah, I want to go there, but I didn't really eat much. I don't like the food there. It's like, it's all about perception. You're trying to control people's perception of you and where you were this weekend, as opposed to the quality of food, the
Sensationalism.
experience. Yeah, exactly. And so, do you think this will always be an issue, or do you think that we'll evolve out of this?
I've seen other people in my line of work taking a huge advantage of this type of society right now.
Yeah.
That also now it's on a huge decline. So I think it's changing.
How
It
do
will
you
change.
stay grounded through all this?
You have to continue being humble and continue approach the business with the same mentality, with the same purpose.
Do you ever think about being one of those spots, mainstream?
No, it doesn't really attract me.
It doesn't attract you.
No.
And that's how you used to stay grounded and rooted in what you know
Yes.
best.
So when you don't know where to go and you look for a place for good food,
That's right.
come see me.
Yeah. What are you most proud of?
In my life, my children for sure. My relationship with my wife, she's my soulmate and my best friend and my forever lover and everything. And we created a beautiful family, and my kids are following the steps. Actually, my oldest daughter owns a restaurant. My oldest son, he just came back from Italy last week with the culinary arts
Wow.
degree.
Okay.
He's gonna start working with me next week.
In Miami. How many kids do you have?
4.
4 kids. What are the other 2 doing?
One, she's gonna go to college. I think she's gonna go for medical field.
Okay.
But my youngest one, I think he's gonna become another chef.
You think so? How old is he?
16.
Okay, he's young right now. Very nice. What do you want your children and everyone else that may be watching this to take from your journey?
I really want them to understand that, if you are into hospitality, if you're about to think to consider hospitality as your career, you need to understand that you're going to put yourself through a lot of hard work, a lot of commitment, a lot of things that normal life would not have. But you're also going to be rewarded by a lot of gratification. And if you really feel this type of mission in yourself, and then you just put yourself through it.
The chef world is very glamorized with like the Food Network shows and whatnot, right? I feel as though it's your passion and your deep, deep rooted passion that gets you through those tough moments in your careers, because I have seen no chef that is of your caliber who hasn't gone through a very tough time in their career. Isn't that something you'd want to warn them about as well?
It's
It's not glamour. It's not all glamour.
No, it's not all. It's only one out of a million that becomes glamorous and and he gets all the attentions. It's not for everyone.
Yeah.
It's something that the writings are on the walls all over the place, and that if you're gonna work 15, 20 hours a day for a while, you're gonna burn out.
If someone eats at your restaurant, what's like a feeling or memory you hope that they leave with?
That they felt like they were somebody that really cared for them, and they gave them a really good experience, and they ate something memorable, and they were treated with absolute total respect, and they were made feel very special.
If you could speak to your younger self standing in a tiny kitchen back in Italy when you were a little boy with your grandmother, what would you say to him today?
Keep doing what you're doing.
Oh, that's nice. Forget the architect.
Forget it.
Forget it. What did you have to give up to get where you are today in terms of sacrifices? I know just from speaking with other chefs that you're not the only one who sacrifices things. So does your family. So does your wife.
Yep.
Because when other people are celebrating and doing things and birthdays and holidays, you guys are working.
Sure, for years and to this day, we were having like the Christmas meal maybe a week before,
Yeah.
or at 1 o'clock in the morning after I was done with my work, and they were waiting for me. Somebody will fall asleep on the couch.
Yeah.
It is hard. It's continuous being hard, and it will be hard forever until.
What do you think is the biggest sacrifice you've made?
The worst sacrifice that I had to do, it was to give up my time with my children.
To be at work.
Time will never come back.
Yeah. Was there ever a moment you almost gave up on your dream?
Several times.
Why?
There was one time where I completely got tired of it, and it was like my second burnout, and I stepped away from the kitchens, and I helped my friend that owned a manufacturing plant where they were making lawn equipment. And
lawn mowing equipment?
Yeah,
Is this in
lawn mowing,
Italy or here?
in Italy.
Oh, wow.
And here myself like mounting these little engines, and I have knots and wires
Like
and
nuts
pieces.
and bolts and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm imagining those on a plate, and then I'll say, okay, this is the pasta, this is the. And when I go through these and I talk to my wife about it, and she looks at me and says, "What the hell are you doing? Go back to what you really love." And that's what I did.
What pulled you through those moments, though? You said it happened several times. What got
Discipline.
you through those? Discipline. Okay.
Discipline, sure. There was the one thing that and I recommend anyone, because I've been through a lot in my past before becoming disciplined. If you are approaching this life, if you are not disciplined, I would not recommend it.
I agree. I think discipline carries you through some of your toughest moments. I have to show up. You just have to show up.
I agree with you.
What drives you today? Like, why do you keep doing what you do? Why are you at the Cadillac Hotel with Donna Murray? Like, what motivates you today?
Well, the drive is always the same force that pulls me through every day. It's always the hospitality, always the cooking, the food itself. It's like a big major force for me. It's like a magnet. If there is 20 people in the kitchen and there is a piece of food and somebody has to cook it, it will be me.
Yeah?
Yeah. And my cooks, they push me away from the kitchen because I want to cook everything.
Do you cook at home?
I do.
Do you let your wife?
When I'm off, I cook for myself.
Do you let your wife cook?
My wife is an excellent cook.
Oh.
She's better than me.
Really?
Hmm.
See, most chefs don't let anybody else in their kitchen even at
No,
home.
no, no, absolutely no. My wife don't let me in the kitchen because she
Oh,
said I make
wow.
a mess.
Wow. What is a fun fact about you that nobody knows or you'd
I
like
like
people
to
to?
think that I'm really good at taking pictures.
Photography.
Mm.
Are you?
It's like a creative outlet that I have,
Okay.
other than cooking, because I cannot be always in the kitchen. I'll go crazy. So
When did you
I try to.
discover this about yourself?
It was actually when I met my wife. Her beloved father had left a really fancy and a really vintage piece of equipment for photography,
Hmm.
and she didn't know what to do with it. And I really started figuring out things, and I like it. I enjoyed it.
So this
And
is years ago
mhm.
that you picked it up, and you still catch yourself
Yes, my
around
kids
Miami.
like to think, oh, but these are not very cool pictures, Dad. But maybe
Oh,
one day they'll understand it.
what do you do for yourself that brings you joy
I like,
personally?
I like a good meal. I like spending time with my family, and I love a good walk.
A good walk
Hmm.
outside, right? Nature
Yes,
walk. Yeah.
outdoor.
If someone told you that you couldn't be a chef anymore, what would you be doing?
I don't know. I'll be probably Dad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not a photographer?
maybe not.
Not an architect?
No, I see it as a hobby, not as a profession, a day thing that I do every day, because I get tired of it. Because I'm a perfectionist, and if I don't really get it done properly, I hate myself. I get frustrated.
What was the most memorable moment of your life that made you the happiest?
Mm. In life in general, it's when every time my children were born.
And your four
Those
kids?
are the happiest time.
That's beautiful. What advice would you give to somebody arriving to the US with a dream like yours?
To stay grounded and to be focused on things that you do right and that you know well, and not to want to accomplish too many things at a time. Just do one thing right, and focus on that one and do it right, like we do in Europe.
What do you have to say also about like people that come over here from other countries? Maybe they are self-conscious or fearful that I don't know the language and I don't know, the ins and outs of business yet. How did you navigate that, and what advice would you give to them for that?
Well, if they chose to come over here, they already knew that they had to put themselves through some challenging
Learn.
times, and then learn a new language, and learn a new way to do business, and learn a lot of things about American culture and the people that lives here,
Yeah.
and they become one of them eventually.
And it's not something that can stop you or hinder you.
No,
Nothing to be
definitely not.
fearful
Actually,
of.
they should be motivated more to succeed, and
Yeah.
show others after them that
It's
it's
doable.
possible.
Yeah, I agree. Right now, there's a lot of stigma going around immigration and between countries in America at this moment. And I think for anybody watching the show, it's very important for them to see this too is what immigration looks like. People do come here legally, work very, very hard, do everything the legal way, dot their I's, cross their T's, and pursue their American dream and become very successful at it and provide jobs for hundreds and thousands of people at a time, and do bring value to the community and to our country and make it what it is today. It's not all negative the way that it's being presented right now in the media. And I just wanted to take a moment to like shine light on that, because I don't think it's not one size fits all for everybody when it comes to that.
My wife is in the school business. She sees a lot of children going through this now, and she sees a lot of excuses being made too out of nothing. Some people really thinks that everything is due to them, and comes with a right, and they moved out here, they are like in asylum, and the country has to give them money and give them a visa and let them be here. But it's not just like that. If you choose to come over here because you choose to be part of this country and become one of them, then you have to stay to the country rules. And then,
So you're saying when your wife said like when people come here, they kind of expect
yes,
certain things.
we worked extremely hard for it.
Yeah, and you're saying you have
We
to.
still are.
Right. That's what my parents do. Like you have to work very hard, and I don't think it's the same level of playing field here. Like you versus like me, if I were to start a restaurant, right? It's almost like I have a leg up because I speak the language. I know all the ins and outs and stuff like that. But I think that you could still be more successful than me because of your grit, because of your upbringing, because of your passion and your drive. I think people are more motivated and you guys don't really look for excuses per se. Whereas me, you know, that's
You have to be hungry.
You have to be hungry.
You have to stay
and
hungry.
I think when you leave your country, your native country, and go somewhere, first of all, you have to do it to actually know it and feel it. I only know this because my parents always shared with me what it was like. They never let me forget that. But it's very hard to put yourself in an immigrant's shoes and really understand what they're going through and how much rides on their shoulders and how hard they work to be here, what they escaped to come here for, you know, like that dream and the opportunities. But the sacrifices that I think are made along the way, that's not everybody can do that.
No, people don't realize how much is really behind it and what it takes and what it currently still takes to us, you know, every day.
Yeah. What is the immigration process like between Europe and here right now?
Well, you know, you come with a visa, work visa.
Work visa, okay.
Yes, and you're sponsored by a company that actually comes from your own country.
Okay.
And, you know, during the visa process, then you apply and you go through the steps of naturalization, and then you become a citizen eventually.
You have to become a citizen, or?
I became a citizen. I hold a dual citizenship.
Okay. Was that easy to get?
No, it was extremely hard. It was 17 years long.
17 years?
Yes.
Wow.
17 years. And Italy is a big partner of US.
What is the green card situation?
At this moment, I imagine that it's extremely hard to get into the green card program.
You mentioned a lottery, though, which I'm not familiar with.
Yes, we actually, so when we moved out here, I came with a work visa. My wife was as a spouse. She was allowed to be on the same visa, or she wasn't allowed to work. Before they moved out here, I was already here. My wife applied to the green card lottery. We actually ended up winning the green card after a couple of years.
How many years did that take?
The green card was good for 10 years.
How long did it take to get one?
5 years.
That's still a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a lottery, so it's random.
Random.
Yeah.
You struck a luck.
Wow. I think there's certain cultures in America that are very accepted because they've been here for so many generations. And then there are other cultures and other backgrounds that are still discriminated against.
They're still struggling.
They're still struggling and going through that. But I think that we all need to have a little bit of empathy for one another and also remember that, hey, your great-great-grandparents or your ancestors, they also came here from somewhere too, and they dealt with some of the things that you don't have to deal with today because they dealt with it for you.
Definitely, you know, life
and be more open-minded.
Could be taken with a couple of spoons more kindness. It will be easier for everyone to live.
Yeah, I agree. I think we all need to look at each other as more, not she's Italian or she's Irish or she's Indian or she's Brazilian, but more like we're all humans.
Mm-hmm.
And we're here together and we're just walking each other home at the end of the day. We're here for a short amount of time. And unfortunately, people are spending it arguing over green cards and visas and whatnot. But that's just the world we live in right now.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Thank you so much for coming here.
My pleasure.
I had
Thank
a great
you.
conversation. You got me all excited for my trip to Italy now, which is coming up. Like, I'm so excited.
Let me know if you need any insights.
Absolutely. Milan. What's like your
Okay.
favorite thing to do in Milan?
Oh, just
Besides shopping.
Well, yeah, shopping is a big part. Yes,
You
for
told me
sure.
that.
Milan, it's a wonderful city. It's very busy. It's a little bit of everything. There is art, there is business, there is traditions, there is a lot to see.
Do you have a favorite restaurant there?
Not really. One of my favorite restaurants in Italy, it's actually in the countryside where my house is.
Okay.
And it's a small trattoria where I worked at for about 2 years when I met my wife, when I decided to change my life. And it's a place that is near my heart because it reminds me of a lot of hard time that I had and the way that I approach life in a different way. And it actually completely changed. And it's called Trattoria Gianna.
In what area?
It's in the northeast part of Lombardia. It's the central region where Milan is. So it's an hour east of Milan.
So it's an hour east of Milan.
So when you go there,
I can still go.
yes, You go see my friend Flavio over
Okay, I'm
there.
gonna have to write this down after we're done
Yes.
here. And I'm gonna make it a point to go there.
And you go there, they don't have a menu. You sit down, and you're taken care of from the beginning until the end, and
Oh, so
you
you're telling
even
me that I
forget
can.
what time is it.
So
and
you're saying that I can't
cell
customize
phones, they
my
don't
dish.
work over there. There is no signal.
Okay, I can't customize my dish.
No, you can't.
I don't want to.
You will
trust
not
me.
be allowed.
I don't want to. Luigi, where can our audience find you, connect with you? Does Donna Marie have a page on Instagram or anything like that? And come see you guys. You're at the Cadillac Hotel. I think
We're
I
at the
mentioned
Cadillac
it, yeah.
Hotel in Mid Beach.
Mid Beach, yeah.
Yes, on Collins and 39. It's a beautiful place. It's the restaurant Donna Mare itself. It's gorgeous. It's filled with love and passion and a lot of things that we do there. We work very hard for our guests to have a more memorable experience all the times.
I'm gonna have to come see you guys.
But it's not only that. We also have the Bungalow by the Sea.
The what?
It's a little like tiki bar restaurant.
Okay. Is it there at the hotel?
It's
Okay.
on the backside by the Broadwalk.
Okay.
And around the pool, we serve really yummy food over there.
Is it more Italian or is it
No, it's American.
like pool
American grill,
beach?
the
Okay.
pool beach fire.
But with your twist on it,
Yes, of course.
which is probably better. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
I enjoyed this thoroughly.
My pleasure.
Yep.
Thank you.